Welcome to our Knocking It Down series, where we're talking about rebuilding early childhood financing. Part 1: Who's paying the price for our failure to invest in childcare? Caregivers of young children, including families and educators, are profoundly important because they're literally building children's brain architecture and the foundation for our next generation. However, both families and early childhood teachers are at the mercy of a woefully under-resourced and broken childcare system. For many families, childcare is cost prohibitive. The federal definition of affordable childcare is 7% or less of household income. But a family with 2 working parents and 1 infant pays almost double this threshold, and a single parent with a baby spends more than 5 times what would be considered affordable. Within a family's budget, childcare often accounts for the largest share of expenses, exceeding the costs of housing, healthcare, and other necessities. In many states, childcare tuition is as much as college tuition. Families often choose between paying for childcare or paying for necessities like diapers or utility bills. Something has to change. On the other side of the coin, we have the early childhood workforce. Despite highly skilled, high-impact work, childcare teachers are among the most poorly paid occupations in the country. Among childcare teachers, nearly 20% live below the federal poverty line, almost a third experience food insecurity, and more than half rely on some form of public assistance just to make ends meet. Despite their essential work caring for children, teachers are left struggling to care for themselves and their families. Something has to change. So why are families paying so much while teachers are making so little? To understand this paradox, let's look at a hypothetical childcare center to see where a childcare dollar goes. This program has 2 preschool classrooms, which each accommodate 16 children with 2 teachers. Because infants and toddlers need more one-on-one attention to support their development and safety, these classrooms have far fewer children. Annual tuition for preschoolers generates $150,000 per classroom at this program. Despite having higher tuition rates, infant and toddler classrooms generate far less revenue while having similar staffing and classroom costs. In total, this program's annual revenue is $500,000. So where does this money go? A typical program spends about 40% of their revenue on expenses such as occupancy, classroom materials and food, operations costs, and mandatory benefits such as workers' compensation. A majority of a program's revenue is spent on staffing, with an average of 60 to 80% of a program's budget going toward wages. Some of this goes to administrative staff, like a program director, coordinator, and administrative assistant. What's left means that the program can only afford to pay their teachers about $25,000 per year. These low wages lead up to 40% of early childhood teachers to leave their jobs each year. It's clear the math doesn't add up for families and childcare programs to shoulder the costs of care on their own. Without significant public investment in childcare, we'll continue to fail families and exploit the early childhood workforce, disproportionately women of color, as they support our nation's economy without adequate pay. As the saying goes, parents can't afford to pay, teachers can't afford to stay. There's got to be a better way. This way is clear: a well-funded childcare system that takes good care of all caregivers. In the next video, we'll explore some of the supports, like childcare subsidies, that are intended to ease the burden but currently fall short. And in the third video, we'll look at bold solutions that could offer effective and sustainable ways to take care of all of children's caregivers.